Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Sharon Walpole. I'm from Career Map, and I will be hosting this event today with WorldSkills UK. Sorry, I've got a bit of a cold. Introducing their national competition program. Before we begin, you'll see there's a chat box there. The WorldSkills team will be doing their presentation, but there's time for a Q&A at the end. So feel free to put any questions you have in the chat box. We may get to them during the presentation, but we certainly will get to them towards the end. The session is being recorded, and if you have to leave early or you want to share or watch later, it'll be available on demand on Career Map Live. I'm going to be monitoring the chat for the questions and joining you later for the Q&A. But for now, I shall leave you in the capable hands of our host, Colin and Nina from WorldSkills UK. See you in a bit.
Thank you, and thank you for Career Map for inviting us here today to talk about our skills development competitions, which we're more than delighted to do. Welcome, and thank you all for attending. My name is Nina Jassel. I'm Senior National Competition Programme Manager, and I'm here today with my colleague Colin Galley, who's a Further Education and Quality Manager. And as was highlighted at the top, we're going to talk to you a bit today about our skills competitions. We'd love for you to get involved and ask questions. So, please do ask us anything, and we'll try our best to answer. So before I start talking about our skills competition development programme, I'm just going to talk to you a bit about what we do as WorldSkills UK. So WorldSkills UK is an independent charity, and we're a partnership between employers, education and governments. We use international best practice from our international competitions to raise standards in apprenticeships and technical education to help young people get the best start in life and to their careers. We're also a very proud member of WorldSkills, which is a global movement of over 80 countries. WorldSkills supports young people from across the world via the competition-based training programs, assessment and benchmarking, with the national teams from each country ultimately testing their ability to achieve world-class standards in the biennial Skills Olympics, which take place every 2 years. And the next one is in Shanghai later on this year in October. So what do we do at WorldSkills? We've got three main strands to our competitions. Our organisational objectives. We inspire excellence, we develop excellence, and we innovate excellence. So we inspire young people, whatever their background, to choose high quality apprenticeships and technical education as career routes. We do this through a number of initiatives. We have our spotlight talks, which we hold twice a year, and they are themed topics. The last one was held a couple of weeks ago, and it was on green skills. So we bring together educators, young people and employers to talk about the future of green skills and potential career pathways and how people can actually get a career in the green skills sector. And before that, we ran a spotlight on digital skills. So, what is the digital skills horizon looking like? What are the careers available? And so on and so forth. So we hold these spotlight talks regularly, and they're always themed in a particular skill area. We also provide a careers advice toolkit, which is to guide young people to develop their employability skills and provide careers information. The toolkit is broken down into bite-sized lesson plans. It's full of quizzes, information about job roles and career pathways and how to get ahead in your career. And if you haven't seen it already, it's available on our website. We recommend that you take a look. And also we have role model resources. So these are a series of lesson plans, presentations and video case studies designed to support young people to make the right career choice. And again, it's people who've taken part in our competitions and who've been involved in our work, talking about their careers, how they get involved, how working with us helped them to get ahead in their careers. So that's our Inspire strand. We develop excellence through our competition-based development programs, first at a national level and then through our international competitions. And of course, today we're here to talk about our national skills competition, so I'll talk about that in a minute. And then obviously we innovate excellence by helping employers to benchmark their skill systems from across the world to inform policy and practice in the UK, ensuring high quality skills and boosting the UK economy. So we bring together governments, educators, industry leaders to really talk about what the pressing skills issues are today for the UK, and we use our global insights and best practice to actually develop the capacity of the skills system in this country. So that's a bit about what we do. Now I'm going to be talking to you about our skills competition development programme. So what are skills competitions? Well, our skills competitions are designed by industry experts, and they assess a young person's knowledge, practical skills and employability attributes against a criteria that's set in a project and in a competitive timed environment. And they are a proven method of upskilling and developing young people from all backgrounds and all abilities. So we know that individuals benefit from our skills competitions in a number of different ways. Our competitions help to develop the critical skills, behaviours and attributes that employers are looking for. So these are things like problem solving, time management, working under pressure, negotiation skills, etc., etc. So these are all the skills that employers are looking for, and they're all incorporated into our competition programme, and they are developed through that competition journey. Our programmes also enable young people to bring world-class skills back to their own organisations. So what you learn, you can go back and apply to your employment situation or back into your study programme, and it helps to improve things like efficiency and productivity. And from a business point of view and education, our competitions enable employers and educators to benchmark against national and international standards of performance, and obviously then develop study programs further or develop processes within the workplace further to increase productivity and boost young people's skill sets. So what are the benefits of taking part in our competitions? Well, we know there's a lot of benefits because our programs are based on world-class training methodologies. And again, like I said, what people learn on our programs are able to take back into their study programs and obviously improve their working environment. Involvement in skills competition activity at local, regional, national and international levels provides examples against which organisations, staff and learners can benchmark their performance. So you can take part in our skills competitions and then you can compare how you do against other people in your organisation or on your course. We know that our skills competitions support people to inspire them to complete their study programs, achieve their qualification goals. We know that obviously competitions have a positive effect on young people's ambitions and aspirations for their future careers, because exposure to our competitions opens up the possibility of the job roles that are available in a particular skill sector. And we know that our competitions inspire young people to achieve higher level training. So just picking up on some of the questions there. So there's a question about how to apply for competitions. You can apply as an individual on our registration platform. So we can share the link to our registrations after this webinar, and you can apply as an individual, but you do need to have the support from your employer. So they do know that you're going to be applying for the competitions because they need to support you through the journey. Alternatively, your employer or your lecturer can apply on your behalf, but we'll go through the process in a bit more detail. We don't offer apprenticeships through WorldSkills as such, but we do support apprenticeships on our programme through our competition journey, helping them to develop the skills, knowledge and behaviours that will enhance their apprenticeship and, you know, make them more employable at the end of the day. And yes, we do have a link to the toolkit. Again, we can send that information on after this webinar, along with the information that we're going to send to everyone. So I hope that answered your questions, but we know as we go through, please do ask and we'll pick them up as we go through or at the end. So in terms of the benefits of taking part, we do survey all the young people that take part in our competitions every year. And from last year's survey, the results were that 97% of entrants say that taking part in competitions improved their technical skills. 93% said taking part in competitions improved their personal and employability skills. and 90% that said that what they've learned they can go back and apply to their study programs or their apprenticeship schemes or their employment. Okay, and obviously, aside from being beneficial for young people, we know that obviously there's lots of benefits that trainers and tutors can gain from being part of our competitions, such as introducing more methodologies into their teaching, training, and learning techniques. There's an opportunity to benchmark and learn from other educators involved in the program. And obviously CPD opportunities. There are many of those go through the competition program, and also being part of competitions does open up the door to become more involved in competitions. So, for example, judges, coaches, and experts opportunities. We have also found that some of the young people that have taken part in our competitions have also gone on to become judges and experts. So there's a lots of opportunities for those who do take part in our competitions. So onto the competitions themselves. So the basics of our competitions is that we've got 63 skills competitions running this year, and they run across 4 different sectors. So the sectors that their competitions fall within are construction and infrastructure. So within that sector, we have competitions such as bricklaying, carpentry, plastering, all the traditional skills competitions, construction competitions, but we also have high level skills like digital construction. Within within the digital business and creative sector, we have competitions such as 3D digital game art and cyber security. Within the health, hospitality and lifestyle sector, we have competitions such as hairdressing, nail technician, culinary arts and health and social care. And within the engineering and technology sector, we have competitions such as mechatronics, lab tech, mechanical CAD, industrial robotics. So that is just a snapshot of the 63 competitions we've got across the different sectors. We do have a full list of competitions that we're running this year that we can again share with you all after this webinar. Just noticing under the couple of questions come in, what criteria is there for entry? So to enter WorldSkills UK competitions, you have to be at least 16 years old on the 1st of September 2021. So you have to be 16 and over. There's no upper age limit. You have to be studying for a qualification or in the UK, or you have to be working for an employer in the UK. That's the overall criteria. And again, we can share the competition rules with you. However, each individual competition also has their own entry criteria, which is specific to that competition. So the best way to find out what the criteria is for any given competition is to visit our website and look on the web page for an individual competition, and it will tell you what the entry criteria is for that competition. And again, we can share the link to where you can find those competition pages. The digital construction competition is based around building information modeling. So that's kind of the design element of construction. So it's the CAD element of designing a house, but on a computer, for example, configuring all the rooms and looking at what it would look like before obviously the build starts. And again, if more information about our competition is available on our website. Do you have to be an apprentice to take part? No, you can be a student or apprentice, or you can be employed with an employer. But again, there's individual criteria, like I said, for the individual competition. So for some competitions, it tells it that there is a limit on the number of years of work experience you can have, for example. And again, all that information is found on the website. I've seen that competition out in other countries. Yeah, we only run national competitions, so our competitions are based in the UK. However, for those competitions that lead to international competition, where people are required to go abroad to compete in competitions against other countries, then obviously that all is funded by us. So as we go through and explain the different stages of the competition, we'll tell you what happens at each stage a bit later on in this presentation. So I hope I've answered those questions. But again, please do feel free to pick up on some of these at the end if you want a wider discussion around some of these questions. We'll be happy to have that talk with yourselves. So as I was saying, we've got 63 competitions, and I explained a bit about some of the sectors and some of the competition types, and the full list is on our website. Of those 63 competitions, 9 of them are foundation skills competitions. So they are aimed at young people with special educational needs and disabilities, and they're normally entry level 3 and level 1 competitions. For the competitions that aren't foundation skills, they are mainly at level 3 or equivalent to a level 3. There's some at level 2, and there's some higher level ones at level 4 and above, but the vast majority of our competitions are aligned to a level 3 qualification. And again, details of that can be found on the individual competition web pages. So out of those 63 competitions, 44 of those competitions are going to be run physically across the UK when it comes to the qualifier stage, and there's 19 online competitions that we run remotely. But again, we'll go on to talk to you a bit more about what that means in a bit more detail. So just wanted to go over the competition timeline with yourselves, so you're aware of how we run our competitions. So the registration for this year's competitions opened on the 28th of February and they close on the 1st of April. So there's a few weeks left yet to enter. So please do, if you're interested in entering, please do get in there quickly and talk to your educators and your employers about registering. Or, as I said before, you can register yourself in our competitions as well. The first stage of any competition, most competitions, is a passive stage, and that's ongoing throughout the registration period to the 29th of April. Again, we'll talk to you about a bit more about what that means. 25th of April to 24th of June is the national qualifiers, and then we will announce the people that are going through to the finals on the 6th or 7th of July. Between the announcement of finalists and the actual finals themselves, all finalists undertake technical development training to make sure that they are ready to compete at the finals, and the finals are in November this year. So that's just really an outline of the competition stages and the timelines. I'm now going to hand you over to my colleague Colin, who will talk to you in a bit more about detail about what these stages mean and what they involve.
Hello, everybody. So, yeah, as Nina sort of said, when you look at the timeline of events, this is going to take you into a little bit more detail of what each of these stages means, what happens at these stages, and when you move through. The question for Jason will come to that very, very shortly, what you put into the chat. So where we start at the beginning of the cycle is our pre-competition activity. So these are normally found on our website. Some of our competition organising partners, so those are the people who write the competition for us, and they could be working in further education. They might be from a background in the trades that they are from, or technical experts sort of from that area. So they have a good knowledge of what's happening in that sector at this moment in time. So they come up with some what we call the pre-competition activity, which gives you an idea of what type of things you'll be doing, gives you some examples to practice, to have a look at, to see if this competition is for you, and if it is something you're interested in sort of pursuing for that. We've got some numbers on there as well. I'll talk through those as we go through. So we start off, so this is sort of December, January time, with about 15,000 people who they register through our website as an expressive interest. So they're interested in a competition or finding out more about the competition, and then go and have a look at some of this pre-competition activity, which is found on our website. From that, we go and hit registration. So that's where we're at this moment in time, where we're doing our registration. So that is the only way to get onto the competitions, is you have to register for them. The deadline for that is the 1st of April. So we'll send the links out so you can get onto the registrations and have a look once you've had a look at all the different competitions that we do. Once you register for some of the competitions, you'll be sent the passive stage. Now, the passive stage is that first point of the competition activity. For some of our competitions, it's just to get an understanding of your skills, knowledge, and behaviours at this moment in time, so they can see sort of where you sit, sort of compared to sort of what's happening across the rest of the United Kingdom. Some competitions use this as a filtration system. So when you hit the national qualifiers, which is the next stage, they may have physical qualifiers or a limited number of spaces at that qualifiers. So they'll only take the top number, and they will communicate what that number is. And each competition is slightly different, but they will take the top number across the country to go to that next stage. So as we go through each of these stages, we're filtering down the numbers for that. So we're getting sort of the people who are shining through at this moment in time, who go through to the next stage. So once you're in the passive stage, and most of those are online tests, some are a physical test, where you might say photographs or video, or remote in, to show sort of what you're doing at this moment in time. Move on to national qualifiers. Now, these could be, again, they could still be virtual, where again you have people dialing in and watching what you're doing. They may be physical at physical venues that you have to go to. They might be held in your own college. And again, judges may come around and sort of see what's happening for that. All of this gets communicated to you as you go through the cycle. At the national qualifier stage, that is the one where we really sort of look at who is going through the national final. So if you look at those numbers, passive stage about 3,000, qualifiers 2,500. So across our 63 competitions, we go from around about 2,500 competitors who hit the national finals. It's about 550, 600 competitors for that. So when we hit the national finals, it's normally top 10 across the country that come and take place in the national finals, which are held in November. The national finals, this is where it fits in with Jason's question, is where you would assessed and compete against the best in the country in your specific skill. And at the end of that competition activity, once the judging, as all the judges have done their judging and worked out sort of the scores, and they've been quality assured and verified, then we get down to the gold, silver, and bronze medalists, who normally get announced after the finals have completed. So you've got the chance of winning a gold, silver, or bronze medal. Or if you score higher than a benchmarked score, there's a chance you could get a highly commended certificate. These are really, really good. And going back to what Jason sort of said in his question, it does really give your CV a boost. If you look at those numbers going down and you think if you get to the national finals, you're part of 550 competitors, young people across the whole country who are taking part in these competitions at this time. So it's really sort of a big deal for that. I can't remember off the top of my head how many people are currently sort of 16 to 19 in FE education or training, but it's a lot more than what we get sort of registered and sort of especially get the national final as well. So it is a really, really big boost for your CV. It's something sort of really, really good you can take away with you, and the experience you get from that. Going back to what somebody had mentioned earlier, after national finals, what happens is those competitions that go to international, and when you look on the website, look at the competitions, you'll see if they're a national only and they finish the national final, or if they go to Squad UK. So the Squad UK is that first stage of that international journey. So those competitors who are age eligible and are performing and competing at that correct competition and level, from their scores, from the national finals and through the national circuit that they've been through, what they will then do is they will get in contact with you and then invite you to become part of squad and team development stages. So if you see that from 550 at the national finals, we're going down to about 100. During that, there's boot camps, there's technical master classes. You work with sort of all sorts of different people doing pressure testing and getting ready for that next stage. And then out of all those people who are in that squad team development stage, the top 25, 35, excuse me, get selected to be part of Team UK. Team UK, they go off to the international competitions and represent the United Kingdom. So that's part of all the devolved nations. So that's England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales all come together. If selected and part of that, to be part of Team UK, where we go off to the international competitions. So it could be you're going into Europe, or as Nina said earlier, for those who were selected and have already gone through this process of getting ready to go to Shanghai in sort of the later part of this year for that. So there's lots of opportunities as you go through. And at each stage of the competition, what you're also doing is you're developing yourself as well. So you get feedback of looking at those areas that you're really doing well in, but also some of those areas you might just need to sort of have a look at and go, oh, yeah, I need to just sort of work a little bit further with that. Also for your tutors, your employers, they can get sort of involved in that as well and sort of help sort of develop your skills, and others who are coming through as well. And it gives a real good opportunity to sort of show sort of what you're doing and sort of showcase sort of that absolutely fantastic talent and skill that you have as you're going through the competition stages. So that's the journey that we've talked through that, and some of the commitment. And remember, these are all sort of rough estimates, because each skill is slightly different for that. So what we have in some areas in the United Kingdom is you have some localized competitions, and then from September to February, where you will have sort of inter-college competitions or sort of inter-department competitions. You have some bespoke competitions by some employers who look after that as well. These are a good starting point to get used to competitions, getting into that methodology, getting to understand what a competition is. I suppose the easiest way to describe sort of a competition is it's a bit like applying for a job. You apply for a job, there could be 300-400 people apply for that job, but there is only one person that's going to get it at the end. And during that process, you want to show that you are the best person for that job, so you get hired as you go through. For those who are at that stage in their careers that start to think about that job prospect for that, and they're going into their careers. So this gives you that sort of that grounding to understand that. And also, again, as we mentioned, looks really good in your CV as well, that you've done that. You've done something different. You've gone above and beyond just the, I say this not sort of to be sort of negative on anything for that, but not just sort of doing your classroom activities, getting your qualifications for that. You're going a lot further beyond the classroom, beyond the apprenticeship, to really show what you've done. We do have that sort of pre-competition activity and the passive stage, which again sort of that kicks in February to April, where we're at now. Then we go into the real sort of the big part of it, where it's showcasing your skills and talents and sort of showing sort of what you can do against the rest of the United Kingdom in the national qualifiers, and then into the national finals as well. And so then we've got those medals. So just picking up some of the questions. Yes, it is available in Scotland too. Yeah, so you can register anywhere, sort of, if you're part of the United Kingdom. So if you live in Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, or England, you can apply for our competition. There are some specific rules that you have to abide by, and again, we'll make sure all those are sent out after this. And there are some competition rules as well, and entry criteria that you have to look at to make sure that the competition is for you as well. One of the big things for the competition journey is all of that evidence that you're going to be doing. So if you're on a portfolio-based program, you can gather evidence as you're going through for your portfolio. If you're on an apprenticeship, it helps with your skills, knowledge, and behaviour development. So you can put down sort of criteria that you've been meeting as you're going through the competition development. And also one of the big things for that is that feedback. So getting that developmental feedback of those areas that you're doing really well in, and those areas that might just need that little bit of developing as you go through your journey in competitions, but also as you're going through your educational journey at the same time as well. So as we've discussed, we've got quite a few tools to help you along your journey as well. So we've got the pre-competition activity, which you'll find on our website. We have a competition development program, again, that's on our website, called part of the pre-competition activity, which is 17 skills that we've digitalized, put them on the website, hosted them for you to get onto. They self-mark, they go through, and it's a previous year's skills test that was put together by some of our competition organising partners and technical experts. And it will give you that benchmark so you can see where you are compared to the previous cycle of competitors through that. So if you went on and did, for instance, accountancy technician, the benchmark for accountancy technician, it could be set at a certain level, and what you can then do, so if it was 51 out of 100, for instance, you could then go and do that skills test, have a look and see what you got from that. You might go, actually, you know what, the benchmark was 51 out of 100. I got 60. Yeah, I'm ready for that. It might be that you hit the 50 mark and you got, brilliant, that's great. I can have a look at those answers and see which ones I need to work on a little bit further. We've got our skills development hub, which again, all of these resources that we're telling you about at the moment are free. You can use them as part of your education. You can take them back to your employer, your educational establishment, and sort of promote them with other people in your class, part of your personal development, behaviours and attitude sessions. Or you can do them on your own. Again, that little bit of individual study. So you can get on there, have a look at that. Skills Development Hub. We've got, I think, about 23 skills on there, where you've got things like technical masterclasses. There is videos. There are some quizzes in there as well. So there's lots of development opportunities with that. We've also got some guides that we've put together as well. So these are things like how to look at how to embed this as part of the curriculum. How can competitions be part of what you do when you go into college? So if you're on an apprenticeship and you do your day release, how would that be part of that? So it's not just thinking, I'm doing a competition today, oh, I'll get that done, that's great, and then move on to something else. It's part of bringing this into everything you do as part of what you're doing at this moment in time, to really sort of showcase and harness those skills, but also to sort of have a look and see what's happening wider than your college training provider and looking further afield as well. And also with a lot of our competitions, we have got industry partners or industry that are working as part of those competitions. And it might give you an indication of sort of, didn't know that that was actually part of this competition. So it can open up possibilities of understanding sort of who are some of the big players and sort of local players who look after these competitions. So things like automotive, things like IMI, the Industry of the Motor Institute, are part of sort of looking after part of that competition. So we've got plenty of opportunities for you to also showcase your skills to future employers as you go through the competition as well. So visit our website, and again, we'll make sure that all this is available. So worldskillsuk.org, and you go to skills, and then national competitions, and that will find out, you will be able to look and search for different competitions that we've got. Register. So again, when you click onto a competition, find a competition that you're interested in, click on it, and it says there's a button that says register today, and that will take you through the registration process. Once you're registered, you'll get a confirmation email to say you are now registered as part of WorldSkills, and then the competition organising partner will be in touch to let you know what's happening and the stages that you're going through. As I say, for some, you might get sent your skills test straight away, your passive stage. For others, they might sort of give you some information about what's happening next. You can have a look at on our dashboards as well. So we've got a data dashboard which shows about registrations and shows you sort of where your college training provider, see if anybody else is registered for a WorldSkills competition. And again, it might sort of have a look and go, I didn't actually know there was somebody else in the college training provider employer that was working for was doing that. Find out, then you can sort of help each other sort of through that. Prepare is always a big thing, and if you're in education, that's one of the things that will sort of you'll probably get used to hearing. So what is about that preparation is crucial, and that's where we've got those resources available for you to have a look at. Go in, have a go at it. If you go to the different competition pages, for some of them, they do have some pre-competition activity, or they have what's called a technical handbook, and in there will tell you all about the different stages of that competition. But also, it will maybe give you some of the diagrams or a previous year's test that they've used as part of that competition. So you can have a look through and go up with that. And also the contact details for the competition organising partner. So if you have any specific questions about what you might be doing, you can get in touch directly with them, and they can then give you that competition specific and skill specific information that you need. And again, that participation is that crucial bit. That is that big one. If you participate in WorldSkills competitions, you're part of, as you've seen sort of we go through, part of that sort of group of people that sort of really showing their skills, knowledge, behaviours, your talents to sort of future employers and really sort of start shaping what we have as a country to offer. Registration table. So when you go into that, you've got the skill, so you can filter by skill. You've got area, so you can filter by your regional area or by organisation. So you can have a look and see who else is registering for it. You don't see the names, but you can see if there's anybody else in your local area registering for that. And again, it might be sort of to help sort of partnership up and do some training together with them. So there is a lot of information to take into a short space of time there, and we will make sure that we share everything with you on all the websites after this webinar. And I suppose now it's open the floor for any additional questions that we haven't answered.
Yeah, because I saw one there about from Kristen. She was born in Australia, emigrated here. So the competition rules are, just to recap, so to be eligible to enter into our competitions, you have to be 16 years of age on the 1st of October 2021. As I said, there's no upper age limit. You have to be either employed in the UK, having completed a relevant UK qualification in the last 12 months, or you have to be studying towards a relevant qualification in the UK, including T-levels, or you have to be working towards an apprenticeship in a relevant trade in the UK. So as long as you meet those three baseline criteria, you'll be fine, regardless of whether or not you were born in Australia. And I said before, each competition also has their own specific competition rules. So on top of the WorldSkills eligibility rules, each competition also has their own individual competition rules and entry criteria. So again, it's about finding out on those individual web pages what the specific rules are for the competition that you're interested in. But being born in Australia doesn't preclude you from taking part in our competitions, as long as you meet those criteria that I just outlined.
We also had Sebastian ask if these are available in Scotland too.
Yeah, our competitions are UK wide, so Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland and England.
Great. And sort of the other part of the question is not just about the entry, but when you go, Jimmy said he's seen that some of the competitions are in, I imagine he means physically taking place in other country. Who funds the travel, etc.? But maybe you could broaden that out as well to kind of what that means going on to other countries.
Yeah, so our competitions are sort of UK based. So the national competition programme is UK based. And as Colin was explaining, as people get through the different stages and they get to the national finals, of the 63 competitions that we're running, 34 lead to international competition. So not all of the competitions have an international competition associated with it. Those 34 competitions are international competitions. For those people that are selected to represent Great Britain, Team GB it's called. Sorry, Team UK, must apologise, United Kingdom. So Team UK, those people, there's about between 25 and 45 people who will ultimately go on to represent UK in international competition against those other countries that are also part of the WorldSkills family. That travel, accommodation, all the logistics and everything is, we will, so obviously as WorldSkills UK, will cover that. If obviously other people want to come, like parents, educators, employers, to support them, then obviously we can make details available of how they can join those young people. But the young people themselves that we're taking to international competition, we will pay for their travel and accommodation and food and everything when they're there.
Great. So I'm sure that we have talked about this through here, but I think it's worth sort of going through it again. Paul was asking, can I apply as an individual, or does my employer have to put me for the competition? Which I think, again, coming back to the competition entry and criteria, because it is a little bit confusing for these young people who may be attending right now, but not part of a school or not part of an organization.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, as long as you're employed in the UK, you're working towards a relevant qualification, or you're on an apprenticeship, program, then you should be able to apply. But because there's 63 competitions, I can't, it's difficult for us to sit here and say, this is the rules for that competition, this is rules for that competition. The best way to find out is by visiting the web pages, which are all on our website. So you go onto our website, we'll send you the link to National Skills Competitions. You type in the name of the competition that you're interested in, or you can have a look at the full list of competitions. It will tell you all 63 competitions. You can just click on the link against the competition that you're interested in, and it will automatically take you to the website for that particular competition. And then you can read what the entry criteria is for that particular competition.
Great. I realise that we're going to be sending a pack out for people following this event, but it might be a really great idea to drop a link into the chat box so people who are here now can jump on quick while they're thinking about it. So we've got a couple of questions around, again, I think this might be a little bit of a confusion about what role apprenticeships play. You obviously went through and said that depending on where you are, there's different strokes for different apprenticeships and different lines and pathways. But I think Sophie's asking, can you get an apprenticeship through WorldSkills? And Steve was asking, can you get me an apprenticeship with one of the employers? Again, I think this might be a little bit of a confusion.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not an apprenticeship provider. We run competitions, and we also obviously do careers events. So we promote apprenticeships as a prestigious technical route towards a vocational career, but we don't actually offer apprenticeships ourselves. We're not an apprenticeship provider. But what we do find is that those young people who take part in our competitions, they have exposure to employers. So throughout the competition journey, those young people are exposed to different employers. And we have found in the past that some employers have actually seen competitors in action, and they've decided that they want to employ them. So sometimes that happens when employers, watching the competitions, they've seen, people taking part, and they've liked what they've seen in terms of the skills showcase, and they've sort of then decided to offer those people a job. But we're not an apprenticeship agency as such. So although we don't offer apprenticeships, we do promote apprenticeships, and through being involved in our work and our competitions, some young people have been taken on, not necessarily as apprentices, but as employees.
Thank you very much. There's it was quite a specific question, but I think it's an interesting one to think about. They're asking, what is digital construction? And I think it's interesting from the point of view for all of you who are joining us today, all the sorts of careers and opportunities you may not know even exist. And they obviously must have picked up on this during your presentation, but if not, are you familiar with what digital construction is?
I mean, me personally, the thing is, we manage the competitions. We're not necessarily experts in all the skill areas, which is why we always say visit our website. But if I just do a quick search on our website, I can give an overview of what digital construction is.
Okay, great. Well, while you're looking at that, perhaps Colin as well, James has asked you, how do I access the toolkit? Do you have a link? So maybe you have a link for that.
So yes, I've started putting some links in the chat for everybody. So the first link is the link to the competition's website, which you can go use the search bar to look for it, or scroll down, have a look. Second link is our competition development program. So that's some 17 free resources to go in and benchmark yourself against previous years in those competitions. The third one is the WorldSkills A to Z. So that is the full list of all the competitions that we've got running this year. So you can take it for that. And when you get onto our website, there is the careers advice area. So I'll put that into the website, into the chat as well. And in that, you can then have a look at industries. It's got the role model resources and the careers advice toolkit on that. So there's plenty on our website that you can have a look at as well and explore the different aspects of WorldSkills and different things that we do.
Yeah, everybody who's joining us, and there's quite a lot of you here today. I'm very impressed in the middle of a lovely sunny day. Thank you very much for joining us. There are lots of links, as Colin just said, from WorldSkills on there. and hopefully you'll click on them. And if you want to investigate now, but also I've just put it in the top chat bar that this session is being recorded, and you can come back to it again. And our lovely team here will be sending you some further information. But I know how it is. If you're getting quite excited, you might want to look right now, which is great. If we move on a little bit, then Jason asked a lovely question saying, are there prizes for winners, or is it just a CV boost?
No, once you get the national finals, it's gold, silver and bronze. So it's actual physical gold, silver and bronze medals that you get awarded at an award ceremony. And for those who score above a benchmark and get sort of into that, there's a highly commended certificate as well, which again, sort of a huge prizes for people as they go through the competition cycle for that. And it's that acknowledgement of sort of where you are sort of against sort of the rest in the United Kingdom. Everybody who takes part in a competition anywhere gets a certificate of participation as well, which is sort of is again sort of really good when you're talking to employers for the future, and sort of as you're going through that, to say that you were part of WorldSkills UK and you took part in competitions.
Brilliant. And for young people to visualize what's going on here, they will be doing early stages of competition usually, and I'm speaking here as the impact of virtual and remote learning, but they may be doing them remotely, they may be doing them at their local college. But then what happens after that? So they do the initial stages, they qualify, I guess, and what's going to happen with the actual finals? Because I know that WorldSkills UK certainly had their massive events pre-lockdowns and things at the NEC. Is there going to be face-to-face competitions, or what's the future hold?
Yeah, the finals will definitely be face-to-face, and we're working out the planning phase of what this year's finals are going to look like, but there will definitely be physical finals. And even before we get to the finals, a lot of the qualifiers are going to be physical as well. So there's very few remote competitions. So obviously the first phase of competitions, the passive stage, that is all remote and digital. And then we get to the qualifier stage, the vast majority of which are going to be taking place in physical locations across the UK. So people will be coming together to compete against each other at a location somewhere in the UK, depending on the competition. And again, the competition organising partners who run and manage the competitions will obviously tell people where those qualifiers are and the dates. And then by the time we get to the national finals, they will be physical. So people will be brought together in a location, competing against each other physically in a space. And that's what we like, because obviously we know that the finals are a big showcase, and you know, we're going to have wraparound content, so there's going to be visitor experience, educational content wrapped around the national finals. So it will be a spectacle, and it will be, you know, an exciting and energetic environment to be in.
Absolutely. I would say to all you young people that are there, or if there are teachers and careers leaders, it's definitely an inspirational event to go to, and to see how amazingly talented and creative some people are who are in this competition. And for young people who may not know what they want to do for their next steps, you may find people doing things that will truly inspire you too. I think we've come to the end of this session. Before I wrap up, Colin and Nina, is there any last parting words you'd like to say before we say our farewells?
I mean, just that registrations are open, and we do encourage people to take part. You know, you never know how far you might get. You know, just be confident, enter, and you know, just enjoy the experience. You know, we know from people that have taken part already exactly how they've benefited from taking part in competitions, how they've, you know, developed their confidence, their employability skills, you know, their knowledge of the skill area, and you know, they just become, you know, more rounded people, and you know, better off for taking part in our competition. So if you haven't taken part already, you know, give it a go and see how far you get.
Great. Super. Great. Well, thank you, everybody, once again. I know I've said it a million times, for joining us. It's always really makes me so happy to see so many of you. If you haven't done it yet, quickly have a click through to all those links in the chat, but you will be getting some information following this event. And like I said before, the events, this session has been recorded, and you'll be able to catch up with it on Career Map Live next week, and then you can watch it again and share the link. So I hope you all get inspired and get involved. Thank you very much to our guests for joining us today, and we'll see you soon. So it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.